Okay, we're looking at solving expressions for a given value. So a couple things first. We want to explain an expression that is a problem involving a variable. Okay, the variable is a letter that we use for a changing amount. So you're going to see usually X is a very common one, but you can use any letter of the alphabet. And so here we've got 4a. Anytime there is a number connected to a variable, that means that you're multiplying. Oops. And this is where I'm going to start getting away from using the X for multiplication and go with the dot symbol that means multiplication. But also, anytime a number, once again, is butted up against a variable, that means that you're multiplying those two together. Next one, so a variable over 4. So this is going to be division. And this is set up just like a fraction, which is just simply division. And likewise, a variable by itself plus a number, that's going to be addition. Oops. And then last, you've got subtraction. So a variable minus a number is going to be subtraction. This just so you can see kind of how it's represented, how expressions might be represented, and what this means. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and solve these if a equals 12 and b equals negative 5. Oops, there's one more that's not showing up on the screen here. AB. So now we're just multiplying here. Multiplying whatever a value is times your b value. Okay, so now if a is 12 and b is negative 5, what are the solutions to these expressions? So what we're looking at here is 4 times 12, which equals 48. Okay, the next one is going to be 12 over 4, which is going to equal 3. So all we're doing is we're replacing the variable with the value given. And now that a, right now we're told it's 12, but it could be anything. That a just holds the place value for however many you want to put in for that variable. So here you've got 12 plus 3 equals 15. 12 minus 4, which equals 8. And then the last one is going to be 12 times negative 5. Okay, you've got a positive times a negative, so your outcome is going to be negative, and that would be negative 60. So this is all that we're really looking at today is we're given a value for our variable. We're just going to plug it in and solve. So you're given an expression. You're given values for the variables. You replace that variable with that number and solve. So here we're going to go through 5 more problems. These ones are going to be worded a little different or set up a little different. There's multiple steps instead of just one operation going on. So here it says solve 3x plus 2 when x equals 5. So that 3x, that means 3 times x. So 3 times 5 plus 2. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 would be 17. All right, solve actually I'm going to keep going down here first. Okay, solve 7x minus 5. Okay, x is negative 5. So once again, we're just going to replace x in this case, and that is 7 times x. So that would be 7 times negative 5 minus 5. So 7 times a negative 5, this is going to be negative 35. And when you have a negative and you're minusing, you're actually going to add them together, keep the negative sign, and that's going to be negative 40. Okay, now we've got 5 divided by x plus 4 when x equals 2.5. So the same thing, we're just going to replace the x with 2.5. All right, 5 divided by 2.5, this equals 2. 2 plus 4 equals 6. So once again, just replacing the variable with the given value. Okay, now here we only had one variable. On these other two, now there's multiple variables. There's more than just one. And each one has a given value. So here it says solve r plus t divided by 2 when r is 5 and t is 8. So this might look like it's a little more complicated, but all we're really doing is just switching we just have two variables that we're going to replace with numbers. So r is 5, so this becomes 5 plus. T is 8, so that is 8 divided by 2. Order of operations, we have to do the division first. So 8 divided by 2, which is going to be 4. And 5 plus 4 equals 9. Okay, this next one, there's 3 variables. Notice they're all butted up against each other. That means it's r times m times t. And now all we're going to do is replace the r with 3, the m with 4, and the t with 1/2. So 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 times 1/2 equals 6. Okay, so once again, there were multiple variables, but don't get too worried. Just note that you're going to replace those variables with the values given. And now it just becomes a simple number problem. Okay, one last one here. Solve 3x minus r when x equals 7 and r equals 12. So once again, we just replace x with 7. And we're going to replace r with 12. 3 times 7 is 21. And remember, you have to follow the order of operations. Multiplication comes first. Minus 12. That's going to equal 9. Okay, and so where we want to go with this is now be able to come up with equations using these variables. And how that would represent a situation. So this first one, Tom makes $12 for each shirt he sells. Write an expression to represent the amount Tom makes for the number of shirts he sells. So Tom makes $12 per shirt for each shirt he sells. So what he's going to make is going to be the $12 times the number of shirts. So here we're just going to say x equals, number of shirts sold. X equals the number of shirts sold. So you got your $12 times the number of shirts that Tom sells. So we don't know how many he'll sell, but whatever he sells, you're just going to times that by 12, and that'll give you the amount that Tom makes in selling t-shirts. Okay, likewise, another thing, if you go to build a house, usually they're going to say a good estimate is going to be this much money per square foot of house. So to write an equation, you're just going to take your price and I'm going to use F here, F for square feet. Okay, so for every square foot, figure $180. So the way to think of this, if you were going to build a house that was, let's just say 1,400 square feet. Okay, you're going to just say, each square foot is 180. Sorry, I'm just going to put this larger number up top. And then you multiply those together. So you get 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. 8 times 4 is 32. Drop the 2, carry the 3. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. Then the final one, multiplying by 100. Add 2 zeros, 0, 4, 1. Add them all up. You get 0, 0, 0, 2, 5, 2. So if you're going to build a $1,400 square foot home, they'd say, well, you estimate that it's going to cost you about $252,000 to build that home. And that is a little bit about expressions and variables and how to solve for an equation for a given amount.